and welcome back to another LEGO Star Wars review. This time I'm here with set 75004 Z95 Headhunter. The set was released on the 28th of December 2012 in the US and the 3rd of January 2013 in the UK and Europe. It has 373 pieces, is rated ages 8 to 14 and comes with 3 minifigures. As you'll see there, we have the 501st Legion Clone Trooper, Krell, and a 501st Pilot, which were all new to this set and one other. The set retails at what I can only assume is $49.99 in euros back in the day. What definitely is $39.99 in pounds and $49.99 in dollars. Again, I said I can only assume for the euros because I couldn't find the retail price of euros. I could only find it in pounds and dollars, so I could just go on by what I've seen lately. That is kind of the conversion I'll give it myself there. The Z95 Starfighter was a late entry to the Clone Army's arsenal, used from the Battle of Umbara until the end of the war, but quickly became one of the most popular forms of air support used by the Republic. This particular model was specifically designed for the clones with their heightened mental and physical abilities in mind. It was armed with 8 torpedoes despite its size and was a very fast and agile ship. The ships were primarily used for starfighter combat, but were also used quite a lot to escort the more vulnerable ships and gunships and stuff like that. These ships would be heavily involved in the Clone Wars towards the end, including being involved in the Battle of Umbara, Kadavo, and Cato Nemodia, Yerbana, and the Outer Rim sieges. Now, just to get a little look at the back of the box here, just because something I always do, and it always gives you a good impression of the set. So we see the set from another angle, as per usual, and 2 other angles there as well, actually. We also then see just a little kind of action, I suppose, around the box as well, to make it look like it is flying there, and we see the minifigures kind of laid out. Then you will see there is 3 action boxes. Now the 3 action boxes here will show you that there is landing gear, which is retractable, nice touch. It shows you a little storage space in the back there for some weapons, which is definitely nice as well. And underneath it will show you there is a torpedo launcher there as well. So great options there for play. I think it really bumps up the set for value, I suppose, as well, because the more you get out of a set, the more you can do with a set, the more worth it is. Otherwise then, nothing too crazy, so let's just get on to the overview. So here you'll see everything that comes with the set. You got your 3 minifigures here. Krell comes with his 2 double-ended lightsabers, the definition of overkill. And the 501st Pilot and Trooper kind of come with weapons, because like the set comes with weapons essentially, but on the back of the instructions then it shows which one belongs to which person. So I'll get into that now. So if the set comes with these 2 weapons here which attach onto that, and the 501st Pilot is shown with the binoculars there in the back of the instructions, and the Trooper with the gun. Now, as I said, they go onto this, and this goes into the back of the Headhunter, which I'll show you later. Also, it comes with a torpedo here, one of the old style, and it notably only comes with 1. I think all of them do when they are coming with this one, rather than spring-loaded shooters or stud shooters or anything like that. But yeah, let's get on to the minifigs. So first up here we have the standard 501st Clone Trooper. I think this is a really nice minifigure, but I do think they've improved quite well on it with the 2020 edition. Now they have taken away the blue arms and black belt for white arms and white belt, which is more accurate, but focusing on this one, it still is a nice minifigure. It's based, of course, on the animation, the Clone Wars, so the printing on it is a little kind of different than what you might see like from an on-screen adaptation of the figure or anything like that, but it is very accurate to the animation, which is pretty nice. Something that is not pretty nice for a lot of people is the face print there with the eyes. Of course they have gone back the way now and just given them the standard Lego beady eyes, but just the level of detail on this is a little bit, it makes some of the figures look creepy, let's not lie. I mean, that Palpatine figure is. But other than that, it is definitely a nice minifigure. I think the helmet mold is perfect. It's really, really nice there. It's smooth, and it has pretty much all the right details there. It's not over accentuated in any places like that or anything. I think the printing is true to the Clone Wars series, but I just think the mouth is a little small. It looks a little funny, but again, it is quite accurate to the series, so that is good. You will see no belt printing, some nice leg printing there, just a little bit of detail, but it does bring out the figure a little bit more, and a nice kind of blue line down the torso there with the blue arms. It does look pretty well, to be honest. But because the clones really only have like blue shoulders and sometimes like blue wrists and little lines down the side, it is a little less accurate to have fully blue arms. So it's good that they've changed that in the recent model, but this still is a really nice minifigure. Next up then we have the controversial Pong Krell. Now this fella is a bad egg, so it's good that he has that kind of angry looking face on him there. I will say the top bit here is mold all to itself. None of this separates. Unless, of course, you want to go rogue and take hands off, you can actually pop out the arms. Same as you pop out the arms on any other minifigure. But otherwise, then, this is all one thing. The head doesn't come off the shoulders or anything like that. And then, of course, he has another body here. They've actually done a bit of printing there. Not sure why they've done that when it kind of mostly gets covered by that. So there isn't really much need for that. On the back then they have also done a little bit of printing, and to be honest it does keep the figure accurate. You'll see a little bit of the belt there as well, and they've done belt and leg printing on this one as well, and they've also given him the white hands there for the Clone Wars armor that he wears a little bit of. The mold for the top is really nice. He of course is the same species as Dexter, so that's why I really wanted him more so than anything else. You'll also see on the back there he does have his kind of little ponytail thing there, which is really nice, and this kind of, I'm not really sure what to call that. It's part of his head, so it's whatever that is. And you'll also then see the ears coming back as well. I think they might be ears. I'm not quite sure what any of it is because he is a weird kind of alien. You'll also see his big kind of like under chin. Is it chin or is it his lip? Kind of like a pelican. Anyway, it is definitely nice. You'll also see a little bit of the beard there. I think this figure is amazing. I think it's done really, really well, and I'm really happy with it. I think that leg printing is really nice, and the little bit of belt printing, it's just nice touches to have that on. It means they've gone a little further than they could have, you know, and they did add in that extra bit of thought. He does, of course, come with his two double-bladed lightsabers. He is the definition of overkill, and, you know, it is what it is. He kind of holds the lightsabers kind of weirdly. So if you do it in the bottom hands, he can hold them like this. So like that. So that's cool. Like he can, you know, hold them like that, and one can go there. But he doesn't have much movement other than that. Then if you put maybe one in the top and one in the bottom, like his hands do kind of get in the way a little bit, so you can't push it back the full way or anything like that, and it's just a little bit awkward to work with him, you know. With the four hands and the two double-bladed lightsabers, there's just so much going on with this minifigure that it's kind of hard to work with, you know. Otherwise though, it is a really nice minifigure, as I said, and I'm just really in love with that top mold there. I think it's fantastic. And they have definitely not skimped in any of the details here, so that is really good to see. And last but certainly not least, we see the 501st Pilot. Now this guy has only been in one set, so he's a little bit rare in that sense, but anyway, getting on to him, he has a nice little print there, pretty standard print for the torso, as you'll see, apart from the little box up the top there on his chest. Otherwise, he is just a fairly standard Clone Wars animation style clone trooper underneath that. I think the back is slightly different, if different at all. And then the main thing, I'm going to show you underneath the helmet there, nothing interesting there either, standard clone face. But the main thing that's unique about this guy would really be that helmet, because I don't think we've seen that helmet mold since. And it's really interesting. Like, I think they've done it well. Maybe they've done that kind of mouthpiece out a little too far and make him look a bit more buggy than he should. But again, it is nice to see them going that extra mile, printing a specific helmet mold for him, unlike the Phase 1 clone pilots. But getting away from that topic, I think the printing on him is actually done quite well as well. Not a massive amount of printing on him, in fairness, on the helmet there, but it is just nice to see those little details. You'll see the little blue line on the nose there and some kind of little dots up from that. You'll see a little bit of the black line above the visor there as well. I think it's a really, really nice minifigure, and of course he has to come in this set because it's the Headhunter. It's where he shows up for the first time, and it's when the ship shows up for the first time. They kind of show up together, and it's just a really iconic kind of scene for anybody who loves that Umbara arc. I think this is a really nice minifigure, although I think probably the best minifigure in the set is Krell, but again, this guy is really nice. Now getting on to the ship here, I'm just going to show you the functions first off. So functions from the top would be you can open up this and this to reveal the weapons holster thing that I was talking about earlier on. I'll put that back in for now, and then also to seat the pilot in there. I'll go into detail on that in a second. Also then you will see there is a cannon underneath, which you can just literally push out far for that to pop out. So that is kind of nice there. I'll show you more on all of that in a second. I think the design is very nice. I didn't really like this before I bought it, but once I had it in hand, I thought it was really nice. I thought this, especially the midsection here, all worked really well. The engines are kind of less than impressive. If you built something like the Arc 170 or the Naboo Starfighter, it's pretty much the same thing in there as those two ships. And the wings here are even less than impressive then, because they're literally just these two plates here just stuck together. I mean, there's nothing really that interesting involved in making them. It does come with its two stands. I forgot to mention that as one of the functions. 3 stands, sorry. Now this is where it gets a bit complicated, because if you have them all upright like that, it is a bit top heavy. But if you kind of take them back by one click, these are completely, there's no clicks on this part in here, so that just goes freely. And if you want to kind of angle that, you're gonna have to be quite specific about it. You can put it down like that and it does work an awful lot better. But the thing is, if you do it like say I put it like that and one bar too far, and you try and push it down, it will just fall rather than actually, click into the right place that you want it to click into. Now this isn't a massive problem for most people. I just think for myself, I think it's just something I should point out. Now, as I said, the midsection and the front I think is really nice. I'm not a fan of this, but that is just my opinion of the ship itself rather than the build itself. But again, they've done the best job they can with that, I think. It's a bit accurate, so that's kind of what you want. The back there is quite nice. I like these engine bits. I always love those translucent pieces on the back to represent the engine thrust. And then just a small bit of detail in there. Nothing too crazy, just a tiny little bit of detail just to kind of fill out that space in there, which is definitely nice to see. Now, as I said earlier, you can open up the cockpit piece there and fit in your pilot or whoever you want to. Of course, I'm going to put in the pilot at the moment. And he just sits in there pretty good. He looks pretty well in there, as opposed to some other sets that make him lie down a bit too much or sit up a bit too much. He does look kind of snug in there, and it looks like he is kind of ready for war there. I will mention that, see, there are the stands gone again, so that is one bad point. These stands are quite flimsy, so if you are going to play a lot with it, that is something you want to kind of know about. So yeah, he doesn't actually go on any studs in there at all. No studs, just tiles, which is nice. It is what it is. He kind of rattles around in there if you're playing with him. Not going to be a problem for me or displayers or collectors or anything like that, I don't think. But it may be a little annoying if you're a kid playing with it. That could be something that is worth mentioning. Now, as I said, this stand is a bit flimsy, so when I was putting in the pilot originally, I did notice this. I'm just going to fix up all the stands here now and show you exactly what I meant. So, you have the stand up there. you have your pilot up, and you know, you put your figures in this position to put them into any of your cockpits or anything like that, and then you push them down. See, even then I haven't pushed on it, so you have to push his legs and push him back, and that tends to kind of push down the back legs there. So the stands, I will say, are not great just because of how flimsy they are, and so far I think that's the only real bad point I can take away from this set. But getting into more about the functions then, you can open up this, and just to show you kind of how nice that looks, it slots in there, so there is a bit of a dip in there, a bit of a cave, if you will, in there, and it just kind of slots in really nicely. You'll see the little curve on it there, and it just looks really well. I think it's very smooth transition, and it doesn't even, like, if you were to shake it, it doesn't really rattle around that much, and it kind of stays in position quite well there because of the shape. Then of course you can take out the gun and the binoculars if you want. I'm not going to because there's not really much point. You'll also see the top of the cannon there, so that's obviously how it fires, which we'll get on to now. So one of the key features for playability here would be that cannon underneath. Now, as I said, you can see the top of it there, which is usually what you'd click to fire it, and once you put down the cannon like this, it obviously gets stuck on the top there and fires out. So you can hold it in a number of different ways. Like, you can hold it there and use your thumb to kind of open it up, or you can hold it like that and use your middle finger to open it up. You can of course hold it like, another way I was doing it when I was playing with my daughter there is you can hold it like that and just kind of like or like use your other hand to do it there. So that is kind of one way you can do it. But the way I'm going to do it is like this. I mean, you could just pull down on it and it fires. It does, like, it's got Scooby there in the corner. It does have a good bit of tension because it's spring loaded, and the rubber on it as well would help kind of make it bouncy. So it is quite a fun little thing. I think it's definitely better than the spring loaded shooters or stud shooters or anything like that. It definitely is the king of all of their kind of cannons or projectiles or anything like that. But just so you can have another kind of little angle, you can just push this thing here and it fires out. I think it's a really nice little mechanism, and because the ship itself has massive torpedoes in it despite its size, I think that's a really nice addition that they've added that in rather than spring shooters or anything like that. I think spring loaded shooters were a thing back then, so I'm glad that they have used, I could be wrong, but I'm glad that they have used this bigger cannon. So for playability, I would say it's a very nice set. It's the maneuverability is good on it. It doesn't really break that easily. I mean, even these bits are quite sturdy. They're put on quite well. The whole design of it is quite sturdy, apart from the landing gear, which is a bit of a problem. You know, it could have been done a little bit better just by putting a few more clicky bits in there rather than free moving bits like that. But that's not going to bring down the set too much because it is still quite a nice set. For playability, I would say it's pretty good. I mean, you do have that cannon underneath as well. And then for displayability, it's a bit big. It is bigger than I thought it was going to be. Like, if you kind of reference it to the 2021 X-Wing, maybe the X-Wing is about there, and then also maybe to about the end of that tile, so it's a lot smaller than this is, and I did just find myself a bit surprised halfway through when it just kept growing. So you want to kind of take that into consideration whenever you are going to display it. I think it would actually look quite good on the wall, flat to the wall, facing down and propped up like that. That is kind of something I'd like to do with it, but I just, I'm not going to do that yet. I don't have the space for that yet. I think for display, it is still a nice set. If you want to get a few of these as well, I'm sure you could buy the ship without any minifigures or something and just have a fleet of them. If you wanted to do that, it'd look really cool. And I think it is definitely a nice design, 100%. The stickers are in place, right? But again, I just don't like stickers, especially these ones in here. They are a little bit more difficult to put on, so that is something kind of worth noting. For collectibility, I think the figures are definitely worth collecting because you have the first 501st Trooper If you get the new battle pack, you'll have the second 501st Trooper. I mean, there is a collectible kind of aspect to all of that. Also, Krell, never in another set. 501st Pilot, never in another set. So definitely, I think there is some collectability in that. Also then, of course, if you want to use that for mocks, you can make loads of different kind of Krell looking fellas, because Dexter, we know there is more of his race. Bad points, I think all I have to say about it is the landing gear. I just think it could have been done better. And even then, it's not really that bad. It's just the two back ones don't really... I think I've talked about it enough. But again, do you think the only bad thing about it is that? Of course, if the Headhunter is close to your heart and it's one of your favourite ships in the show, definitely this is a very good representation of that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks a million for watching my video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. And comment down below if you think there's anything that needs to be said. Thanks a million, guys. See you again. Take care.